Gene, there's been much talk in town about empty buildings. What are your plans for those structures that are empty? Example, the Witt School, the Staffordville School, as well as the Borough School.
Yeah, the way I would answer that, Carol, is that it's not really the plan I have. It's what the town wants to do. I'm just tired of leaving them empty and vacant for so long. In fact, I have some paperwork in front of me. The Witt School's been empty for 24 years. And I'm not being elected king. I want the town to decide what to do with them. But let's do something and not just wait forever. We can use them, we can demolish them, we can sell them. We have to do something.
Okay, thank you.
What are your plans for reducing taxes in town?
Yeah, it's a very good question. I think the only answer that I can see for Stafford is to bring in commercial and industrial business, providing good jobs and providing, ideally, a help with the tax base so the residential property doesn't carry the burden. And we've always sat back and waited in Stafford forever, and businesses that choose to come. We've got to actively pursue these businesses. We've got to get the Economic Development Commission, breathe new life into it. It's been dead for a long time. They need to be active to bring in the businesses, to actively use our website and all the advantages we have in Stafford to sell us and bring these businesses in so we get the jobs and we can help with the residential tax base. I don't see another way we're going to ever be able to stabilize the taxes.
Thank you, Gene.
Gene, a lot of people are concerned about having only one supermarket in town. Do you envision another grocery store coming to town?
I'd like to believe we could get one. A few years ago, there was a study done by Dr. Poland, town planner, who concluded then there just was not enough traffic on 190, not enough people to carry a second store. But you know, things change. Anything's possible. That maybe now we have to relook at it, because maybe now we can get one. Because I really believe competition is the answer. Give us more choice.
Thank you.
Mr. Julian, infrastructure in many of our town property needs to be done. Most of these projects are way overdue. What is your vision for these projects?
Well, I mean, obviously the whole country, we have an infrastructure issue. We keep putting off fixing stuff. It gets more and more expensive and more difficult to do. We've got to do it. And the biggest problem I have is waiting for the state or federal bureaucracy to somehow get us the money. I think there are going to be situations in Stafford where we're going to have a choice. Put something off for years waiting for the money to come in, or fix it ourselves and get it done. But we're going to have choices to make. If you have a leaky roof in your house, if you have a windowsill that's rotting away, you fix it. We have to do that with our town buildings, with the infrastructure in town. And it's great if we can get the grants and if we can get help from the feds or the state. Not always going to be the case, and we're going to have a decision to make. And it won't be my decision. It'll be the town's decision.
Do you have any updates on the Leonard Road Bridge project?
The last I heard is that the contracts went out and the contractor is going to start sometime this fall. I know what happens in these contracts, and not this one in particular, but I've been in construction most of my life. There's going to be some hesitancy to start in the wintertime. They much prefer to start in the spring. So there'll be some discussion over that, I assume, is going on right now. But they are slated to start. And how long the project's going to take, I don't know. But as far as I know, contract signed, contractor picked, and starting this fall.
Thank you.
Rumor has it that you want to have a district representative communicate with the selectman's office. How would you set that up?
Yeah, that's a good question. I guess that came from wanting input in the different parts of Stafford, being such a big town. I don't know, 60-something square miles, something like that. Like the third biggest in the state, I think. It would be nice if far parts of West Stafford and far parts of Staffordville wouldn't feel like they were in a different town. That we could get more input from people. And I think opening up the Board of Selectmen meetings to comment and reaching out to people more, I'm hoping possibly even setting up some kind of group in these towns, some kind of advisory committee or whatever, if such a thing is feasible. I have to have input. I think one of the problems in the past is most of the town feels like there's a small group of people that run everything. They never know what's going on. They want to understand what's happening. And, you know, I want to be that first selectman you can come and talk to. That concerns are addressed from anywhere in town. You know, we're all in the same town together.
Hi, Gene. What plans do you have for downtown Stafford?
Well, I'd like to see it expand and grow. I'd like to see more businesses in the downtown. I think it's a really a jewel. And some of my door-to-door campaigning this last month or so, I've been surprised at how many people think it's the key to the town. There was one couple that lived in Worcester and just moved here this spring. Aside from the fact that they didn't expect to, quote, move to a rainforest because of all our rain, they were so impressed. They drove from Worcester and all the small towns in Massachusetts and northern Connecticut, and they picked Stafford because of the main street. They fell in love with it. I'd like to see the warehouses we have on Main Street turned into retail shops. That would be my goal, to expand it further than it is, but it truly is a jewel.
Do you have any future plans for road improvements and sidewalks?
Yeah, the sidewalk issue, clearly we need them for people that are walking back and forth from shopping, especially as we grow. And as far as road improvement, we've got to stop taking the money for road improvement and using it for other things. We've been doing that for years, and that's the reason they fall apart. It's hard to spend that kind of money that's required, but we have to. We can do a bond for them, and the rates are pretty low. The problem is that interest adds up, and at the end of the bonding, we've not used that interest money for roads. In effect, we've thrown it away. The ideal, if you could get the public to agree, we'd put a substantial amount of money every year into the roads and spend it on the roads. Recently, we just did a bonding for some road repair, and it's been great, but it's just the beginning. We've got to do so much more. And if we can't get people to agree to spend a large sum every year on the roads, then we need to bond a large package and keep after the roads. It's such a basic need in town, and I feel that way about the bridges and the dams too. The state has basically washed their hands of us. It's our responsibility now. We need to repair them and keep them maintained, just like our town buildings.
Thank you.
Gene, what are the responsibilities of the Economic Development Committee?
Well, I think it's a crucial committee in town, and actually commission, the Economic Development Commission. And I think they can play an absolute key role in bringing new industrial and commercial business in. And they haven't done anything for the longest time, and it's frustrating. I think we have a fantastic marketing director in town, and I think with that marketing director and with our website and possibly an improved website, we can then reach out to these commercial industrial businesses and show them why Stafford would be a great fit for them. I'm convinced that if the EDC, the Economic Development Commission, works hard to bring business in and shows all the fantastic advantages of coming to Stafford. With our workforce and everything else here, we can get jobs to Stafford and help with the tax base. And they're not doing it now. They haven't had a meeting in like a year. I mean, I know Zoom made things difficult, but you could have had Zoom meetings. I expect so much more from them, and I can see that one of my first orders of business has to be to revitalize, reinvigorate, bring back to life the Economic Development Commission in Stafford.
What do you believe the responsibilities of the people on this committee are?
I think actively pursuing business and explaining the advantages of Stafford to those businesses. That's what they need to do. And they need to work with zoning board and board of selectmen to make this happen. I mean, if they come back with a business that's interested, that they've piqued their curiosity and this business is interested, now we have to do the work of finding what they need to change, what we need to change to make it fit. And that's another thing the Economic Development Commission can do. Their understanding of the zoning regs and the town and the infrastructure of town is key to bringing the business in.
As you know, the town's residents have no comments or are able to ask questions during the selectmen meetings. Do you plan on allowing people to ask questions or make comments during the selectmen's meeting?
Oh, absolutely, of course. We've always had that tradition in Stafford. And you know that? And our town meetings are really valuable for that same purpose. Again, I think I said it earlier, I'm not being elected to be king. I'm elected to represent the town and what the townspeople want. And if you don't hear from the town, if you don't listen to their concerns, how do you make your decisions in that kind of vacuum? So absolutely, we have to open up the select board meetings, the board of selectmen meetings, to more input, obviously, and even more than that, we have to be open to listen to people and their concerns. I think, again, for a long, long time now, people have felt they were somehow outside of the government and not part of it. They got to be part of the government. They have to know that they are the power the people are. And we work, any elected official, and if I'm elected to the first selectman position, I work for the people of the town.
So Jean, are there any plans on doing something to designate Stafford as an agricultural community? And if so, do you plan on supporting this plan?
You know, absolutely. I think the Agricultural Advisory Commission now needs to become a full-blown agricultural commission. Not a huge change, but we need to make that difference, make that designation. I also think we need to become a right-to-farm town, which again is not a huge thing. The state has designated, any town has that ability to do that. We already in state law, everywhere is a right-to-farm town. I think that more and more as time goes by, from what I've seen of the agricultural community in Stafford, that they are going to become the dominant voice in town. I see a day where pretty much nothing happens in town that the Agricultural Commission doesn't have a say in. To me, I see that as the future. I think that most people don't see how large that community is in town, and it's growing all the time. When I first learned a few years ago that there were people moving to Stafford from cities to, quote, homestead in Stafford, it really opened my eyes to how important that part of the town is and how important agriculture is to Stafford.
So if I may, I have another question. Jean, as selectman, how do you propose to address the milfoil problem at Staffordville Lake and New City Pond?
It seems to me that it's something that's absolutely necessary to do. I would love to see the Lake Association, Staffordville Lake Association, and TTM step up and have a plan, have the costs laid out, and show how much skin they're going to put in the game before the town gets involved. But it would seem to me to be logical and kind of a no-brainer that the town has an absolute interest in protecting both those lakes. I think of Staffordville as really a jewel. The other day I purposely drove down Stafford Street to get that incredible view in the fall of Staffordville Lake. And I stopped and talked for a couple hours with Mark Price, who I think is the environmental expert on the Lake Committee, the Staffordville Lake Association. And he really gave me a good insight into the milfoil problem. In fact, he had some in a container to show me exactly what milfoil was.
Really?
Yeah, and it's obviously a scourge, and you have to stop it. So obviously, I think the town has to be a partner in whatever solution we have.
Well, thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Gene Julian. I'm running for First Selectman of Stafford. These questions I just answered were the questions that we got from our door-to-door campaign. Questions many times asked by residents of Stafford. And the reason I'm running is to take Stafford out of this holding pattern we're in right now. I think that the only way we're going to move forward and succeed, and I guess succeed is the best word, is we have to bring in new business, and by that I mean commercial and industrial business. We have to get down to business. That's the answer for good jobs. That's the answer for stabilizing the tax rate. To keep downgrading our quality of life in Stafford, to not fix the roads, the dams, the bridges, etc. That's not the answer. That gets us nowhere. We just get further degraded and fall apart more. We've got to grow Stafford with industrial and commercial business. It's the answer, in my mind, to truly getting down to business.
Vote November 2nd.
I'm Gene Julian, and I approved this message.